Good morning and welcome to a Homespun house. My name is Molly. This is the first time I've spoken this morning. So as I said, my name's Molly. I'm the owner of a homespun house and I love to sit here and chat with all of you about everything that I have been knitting on this past month. It's been about 4 weeks since I last filmed a podcast. I have a super tasty cup of coffee here. This one is from Moki Studios. Love this coffee cup. I love handleless coffee cups. Perfect temperature right now. So I need to make sure I drink it while it's warm. That is a common problem that I have. Behind me, I have here my Cozy Memories blanket. This is one that I knit years and years and years ago. It's probably one of my favorite projects that I've ever knit. And I had been wanting to knit one for quite some time, but somehow it just felt so intimidating to me to start another Cozy Memories blanket. I think because there are just a lot of different little squares. Each little square takes a bit of time. You need quite a large supply of scraps to be able to knit on a Cozy Memories blanket. And yeah, it felt like such a large project. And then winter came and I craved working on a blanket so much. I craved working on blankets. I wanted to cast on a blanket. I knit a Christmas themed blanket, but I wanted more. And I had seen Kay Litton knitting on her jelly roll blanket, which I also have and will share with you in just a little bit. But I decided, okay, I have so many mini skeins, or so I thought. I know I've spoken about this before, but I'm just giving you a little refresher. And I cast on a jelly roll blanket, a couple of other blankets. This is my Cozy Memories blanket. I feel like it's grown. I know it has grown a lot since I last shared it with you. There are 87 squares in my blanket right now, which is super cool because I think I cast it on 6 to 8 weeks ago. So I started using my scraps for this blanket and then I didn't have enough scraps. We have a Patreon subscription channel where every other day we come out with a vlog. We also, in that subscription, there are different tiers that you can have, and there's a tier for 3 mini skeins, and then there's a tier where you can get 3 mini skeins plus a sock set. There are also tiers where you don't get any yarn, should you choose not to. So I put all of my Patreon mini skeins in here, as well as our monthly mini skein club that I came up with purely for the reason of me needing new mini skeins. So these are all so pretty. I love them so much. I've had a lot of fun just dyeing them all up. And I know you guys have really enjoyed knitting with them too. So it's really wonderful to create something that you can use right away. Also purchase yarn that you know you're going to use right away. And I just love mini skeins. I use every bit of my mini skeins in my 3 blankets that I currently have in use. So what I do is I start with my Cozy Memories blanket. My Cozy Memories blanket, I cast on 40 stitches. And I do mine a little bit different than a lot of people. I cast on 40 stitches. I knit 18. Then I slip, knit, pass over my stitch marker. I knit 2 together and then I knit 18. Then I knit just normal garter stitch on the other side, so on and so forth. I know a lot of people do the center decrease with the 3 stitches, and then quite a few people do knit 2 together and then a slip knit. But I don't know what made me decide to do slip knit and then knit 2 together, but I really love the way that it looks. So I'm going to be sticking to that, and I'm having so much fun knitting this blanket. We currently have our August mini skeins in the shop right now. It's a nice variety. You have 5 10-gram mini skeins, and then you have 5 20-gram mini skeins. So one of these squares uses a little over 4 grams for me personally with my gauge. Oh, and I am using a 3mm needle for this blanket. And as I said, I love that blanket. It's probably my favorite blanket at the moment. So once I'm finished knitting on, I'm looking at the needle size that I'm using for this. Once I'm finished knitting on my Cozy Memories blanket, I use a 3.5 millimeter needle, and I cast on, the rest of the yarn into my jelly roll blanket. This is the blanket where the rest of my yarns go into. From my 10 gram or 20 gram skeins, what I have left over, I'll knit a little bit into this blanket. With the 10 grams, I usually knit all of it. And then with the 20 grams, I usually knit a bit, and then I save the rest for my Cozy Comfort Throw, which comes next. So this one I'm knitting using DK weight yarn. Well, fingering weight yarn held double actually. And I'm using Kay Litton's Notes. So you can see here, I'm in the middle of a row, and it's really fun to see. I find this with this blanket, how it goes from kind of autumnal winter into then springtime, just because those are the colors that I'm grabbing and the colors also that I'm dyeing. So it's kind of like a seasonal knitting blanket, really. And I plan on making this quite large. It already feels pretty wide, but it's definitely not as wide as I want it to be. And this knits up very, very fast. I planned on knitting one strip every single week, which is definitely manageable. I just personally do not have the mini skeins for it. I knit my patron minis, any socks that I'm knitting, any projects that I'm knitting using fingering weight into this blanket, and my monthly minis. So that only leaves me with, I don't know, 20 minis a month, and that's probably enough for two strips. So maybe more. I mean, I could use all the rest of my sock yarn. Do I have one to share with? No. Oh yeah, I do. So this is the rest of one of my sock yarns after knitting a pair of socks with it, and after adding all of my scraps to my Cozy Memories blanket, my jelly roll blanket, and now I'm going to use some to add to my Cozy Comfort Throw, which is here in this basket. So this is the basket where the scraps of the scraps of the scraps goes. And I also love knitting on this blanket. I'm using the same exact mini skeins as I'm using for my other blankets, but I'm adding a skein of our oatmeal colorway on mohair silk to this blanket, just to tone it down, make it a bit more autumnal, wintry, and just so I don't have three blankets that look like they all have the same exact yarn, even though they're very different looking. You know, like if I show you this color right here, which is our Summer of '69 color, and then here's the strip of it. So my Cozy Memories blanket has definitely grown, and I really go from phases of blankets that I like to work on. This is the blanket that I probably bring with me the most to our bungalow, just because it's really portable. I love going to the bungalow for a weekend and bringing with me my 10 mini skein cakes just all wound up, and in between working in the garden, having fun looking at all of those cakes and deciding what mood I'm in, just how I feel at that time, which square I want to work on, and add it to my blanket. It takes me 35 to 40 minutes, I'd say. I've never really timed myself, but that's my guess. And it's such a wonderful project to bring with me to the bungalow. It's, as I said, it's probably my favorite project right now. So much fun to work on. I'm not at all wanting to put this down. If I had more minis, I would knit on this blanket right now. So, but it's fun. I love that I get to pause and work on other projects. Otherwise, I probably would just be working on that project if I had a bunch of minis, or I maybe would feel overwhelmed. It's nice that I can then move on to this blanket and then move on to this blanket and use all of the minis all of the mini skein that I have left. So I'll knit this until it's completely finished, add a magic knot, and knit it until it's done. Add in another colorway, magic knot, another colorway, this is the one I'm working on right now. This is our butternut colorway. And I'm just using soft sock and soft sock gold stellina for all of these. Our gold stellina is the same exact base as our soft sock. It just has gold stellina in it. So much fun. It's interesting the way our electric feel, which is a really bright neon-y yellow, looks with the oatmeal over it. But I really love this blanket. I know this will be my favorite one in the winter because I have another blanket knit using mohair, and it's the one that I grabbed the most this winter. It felt so warm and cozy on my lap, had such a gorgeous drape, and I really, really enjoyed using it this winter when I sat out on our terrace. So the fact that we'll be spending, hopefully, now that we have our fireplace in at our bungalow, winters and fall at our bungalow, I'll probably have one of my 2 mohair blankets there just to grab and use when I sit outside in the garden. It's been so heavenly, the amount of time that we've been able to spend at our bungalow, changing so much in the garden. We just purchased this bungalow not too long ago, 2.5 years ago maybe, and the family that owned it were the original people who built the bungalow themselves. So we share a lot about that on our Patreon. So yeah, I've been knitting so many socks this past month. Summer sock camp has begun, and I kind of started a little early. I know it's not allowed. I cannot even consider these as summer sock camp cast-ons, but yeah, I had so much fun. So I don't even remember really the order that I knit these. It doesn't even matter. But I'm going to share them all with you because I've knit quite a bit of socks over the last 4 weeks, and I've enjoyed every moment of them. So the first pair of socks that I knit was using scraps that I had left over in my stash. And I always grab anything that's 50 or more grams, and I knit a pair of socks with them. I've spoken about this before in podcasts, just the numbers and things that I use for my socks when I'm doing that. I wear a size 8.5, 9, kind of depends on shoe company. And with a 50-gram skein, I absolutely need a contrasting color for heels, cuffs, and toes if I want to get a leg this long, which isn't that long at all. I could do a pretty short sock using a 50-gram skein, but I think this is a nice length. It's not even that large. So comfort colorway here. I have our poppy colorway, and then this is lingonberry. That's our lingonberry colorway. And I think this might have been, like I've mentioned, Goblin Dance, but I think Goblin Dance is a bit more purple. I don't remember what colorway this is. It doesn't even matter. I used our plump merino for this sock set and thoroughly enjoyed it. The next pair of socks that I knit using our movie night colorway. These socks are so pretty. This isn't the sock set that I came out with for our movie night colorway. I just added shades of green to it, and I think it looks great. So here I have Wildwood, Seafoam, and Whisper for the contrasting toes. And again, I just did a plain stockinette stitch sock. And knit 2x2 for the cuff. And these are both the same exact sock, just using different yarns. I don't use a sock pattern, so sorry, I can't recommend the one that I used. It's just pattern in my head after knitting socks for years and years and years. So these were a lot of fun. I think the next pair of socks I knit might have been these socks. And the way that I knit these socks is a specific way that this stays up and doesn't slide down your feet, because I have had so many socks do that when I'm wearing my shoes, when I'm wearing my house shoes inside, whether they're knit or store-bought. So absolutely love this pair. This is our sunny side up colorway. And then here again, you see our summer of 69 on our gold stellina. So cute. Those are so bright and cheery. I love them so much. So the next pair of socks that I cast on is one of our Patreon sock sets. And I knit Emily Clausen's Mountain Vista sock pattern for these socks. It's so pretty. This sock pattern is designed for a stripy sock, but I definitely don't think that's necessary. I think it works up really great in a variegated, a speckle, just a tonal yarn. It's such a pretty sock pattern, and it's a lot of fun to work on. So I knit her sock pattern with 60 stitches in it. And I love that. So I had this skein of yarn that I thought was really beautiful, and I decided to use as much of the yarn as I possibly could and knit a pair of socks. So it has quite a long leg if you compare it especially to the 50-gram one. And I really love these. It's 60 stitches, which is my main cast on count that I use with a 2mm needle, an American size 0. And I knit these using our soft sock gold stellina. Our patron yarns are dyed up on soft sock. Sometimes you might get a mini with gold stellina, like this one, which is so pretty. It has just a really fun effect. I love gold stellina. And then the final yarn that I cast on is our Happy Birthday Hogwarts, one of the monthly birthdays that we offer. And the pair that I cast on is Happy Birthday Malfoy. All of my Happy Birthday Hogwarts yarns, I am just knitting 60 stitches, 2mm needle, and I'm knitting them with a good sized leg, and I'm knitting them all in my size. So this is Happy Birthday Malfoy. So much fun to knit. I also love when we go to our bungalow to take along a pair of stockinette socks. Also just that really nice in-between of sitting, knitting, relaxing, looking around. The next pair of socks that I wanted to share with you is our Saturday morning socks. This is a kit that we have in the shop actually. And this is a pattern that I came out with called Saturday Morning. And I love these socks. It features our Barbie colorway, whale belly, and our comfort colorway. So I love wearing these because I pretty much always have my wool socks exposed. And I don't know, I always feel a little extra spiffy when I have some color work socks on. So love these, love all the socks that I have been knitting. Socks are just so much fun to knit on, and there are so many different patterns that you can use. And I feel like once you have been knitting socks for quite some time, it is so simple to kind of plug in your own ideas of textures, lace patterns, cables, anything, and knit just a pair of socks. So easy. I think there are probably quite a bit of people who would say that about sweaters or hats. You just kind of pick your thing that you knit a lot of, and then you get a really good idea for the construction of it. And then it just comes easy doing something like that. So the next pair of socks that I'm going to share with you is the final thing that I've knit, am knitting, have on my needles, and that is our Happy Birthday Neville Yarn Club. This one is also not in the shop anymore. Malfoy also isn't in the shop. And Happy Birthday Neville is... Neville's such a cool character. He's such a special character in the books. And I wanted him to be represented as the herbologist that he is, his interest in plants, obviously, and just this kind of laid back, but also brave in ways, personality, fun. He has just this really certain personality, and I feel like this was so perfectly captured in these socks with just the different shades of blues and greens and browns and kind of mauvey tones. And I feel like this color represents him really, really well. I've had so much fun knitting this pair of socks. Again, I'm doing 2mm needles, 60 stitches. I did 25 for the cuffs, and I'm doing 2 at a time. That's how I've pretty much been doing all of these socks. I have each one knit, and I'm knitting from one cake. I knit from the inside and the outside. I start with the outside and I knit one sock all the way down to the heel, pick up stitches, then I cast on the second sock, as you can see, and I knit to the heel, picked up all the stitches, and now I'm going to do the gusset and the foot, and then I'll do the gusset and the foot, and then I'll do the toes and close them both at the same time. Well, not, you know what I mean. So these are a lot of fun, and I love to match my progress keeper to the theme of what I'm knitting. So here I have this super cute mandrake from Simply Serving. This is a really old stitch marker. Progress keeper actually is what it is. And I just thought this fits so perfect to Neville. So the next club that we have in the shop is Harry Potter, and then the surprise of the next ones, Harry Potter will be closing very, very soon this week. So if you want to get Harry Potter's birthday, I definitely recommend getting that now. But we will be releasing the next birthdays on our Instagram feed this week, which is so, so, so exciting. So I've had so much fun knitting on all of those projects. I think today in my dye schedule, I'm going to be dyeing up sweater quantities that people have ordered. I'm going to be dyeing up a patron yarn colorway for the sock set. And then I have in there space in the oven, enough room for me to dye up my new sweater that I want to cast on. I have a sweater that I wear all the time when we're at our bungalow, when I'm working out in the garden. We have days, of course, that are cooler, and it is so breathable. It's an Aran weight sweater, but it is so breathable while still being probably one of my warmest but coolest sweaters. It is using a merino non-superwash yarn, much more rustic than your indie dyed merinos. It's a local yarn here to me, and I absolutely love it. It's something I'm considering adding to the shop, but I don't know how much my customer is interested in local, slightly more rustic, Aran weight, non-superwash merino yarn. So it's something that I love for myself, and I'm going to definitely be knitting up another sweater with that yarn because it's the sweater that I wear the most when I'm at our bungalow, working in particular. So I really would like to knit up another sweater using that yarn, and I need to, as that yarn is cooking and drying, I need to decide which sweater I want to cast on. I know how many skeins I need to cast on, how many skeins I need to dye, because I've already knit with that yarn before, a sweater in particular, so that will come very easy. So I'm very excited about that. Looking forward to dyeing yarn today. I'll be doing a little bit of knitting today. I did watch the newest season of Bridgerton. I really enjoyed it. Curious what you all think about that, and I'm looking forward to the next half of it. Kind of wish I didn't have to wait, but that's all right. Yeah, so much to look forward to this week. Knitting, new sweater cast on, lots and lots of time at our bungalow with Robert's parents, and coffee, cake, tasty food. I hope you all have a lovely week ahead, and hopefully, oh my gosh, you guys, I just realized I haven't shown you Hazel. This is the reason why I haven't filmed in weeks, because every time I want to film, I want to share with you Hazel. And Ruby, who I gifted it to, Hazel's a squirrel that I've been working on. I did finish it. I did gift it to her for her birthday. And every time I want to podcast and share it with you all, she has it with her. She loves this squirrel. And I realize now she has it with her again. She's so super sweet. I'll have it with me next time that I film so that I can share it with you. But I'm so happy I knit her. Ruby loves Hazel to death, and she was worth every moment of knitting time. Wishing you all a wonderful week and week ahead, as I've already said, and see you all next time. Bye.